Sorry you're having a bad day, bud. I'm gonna go over here. You can't see me.
Well, there was that one really weird moment where they're all backing up, right? Because they're all like, oh, shit, it's a thing. And Zed tells them, keep walking. And then he stops.
Yeah.
That's when you really figure out what the rules are to this and, the walking thing and not. And that's what Jade and I were talking about. It's weird that the slow movement throws it off.
I think
the sitting still, it can see you, and the moving fast, it can see you.
Yeah, I think because when it's moving fast, you're like, you draw attention because you're moving fast. So he may not be able to like zoom in on you so well, but he's like, okay, I can see the thing moving. And when you're stopped, you're like right there. But when
Right.
you're moving slow, it's like hard to track, maybe.
That's when it looks all wispy. Maybe it sees in like ultraviolet, but with the temperature, so everything looks a little misty and a little cloudy, and it's all weird. So if you're standing still, that heat signature,
You're like a bright
it were
flare.
yeah, you can see it. And if you're moving fast, you can see where the head of it is, but it's spreading all over the place. That's how you track the movement. But if you're moving slowly, maybe it's hard to tell.
You just like blend in.
I don't know, but
yeah.
But it was weird, and it's definitely like Terry has given rules to this creature now. We know this specific thing. You have to do this thing, and for creatures in the last book, obviously Carl, when he turns into dragons, have some certain rules you have to abide by. Like everything has shit to it that's magical, and you need Zed.
Yeah.
To your point earlier,
Yeah.
To be able to tell you what that is, because nobody else would have been prepared for this if Zed weren't there.
Right. And Al does say predators are always waiting, for the prey to run. So it's like a instinctual, like I'm gonna chase you type thing, maybe.
Oh, maybe it can see you fine. It's just not gonna like go after you unless you're running. Yes, the Shinga. Yeah. I know I've said demon a couple of times too, and I'm like, that's not exactly what it is. It's something different. But yeah, that makes sense. It is predatory, though it does seem to be intent on harm when Rachel sees it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what other reason would it have to be chasing them?
Of course, I mean, Jade and I, as you guys heard in the last episode, just recently got a cat, and maybe it's doing one of those type maneuvers where it's crouched on the side of the bed and you can't quite see it, but for a couple of ears sticking up, and it's just like scoping you out, getting closer. At this point, it would have seen Rachel see it, and that's when it's laughing because it's, it's bad, obviously. It does attack them, but yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess it does make sense.
Right.
Spot the prey, chase the prey, but in between, it's not sure.
Yeah.
Or it's waiting for the advantage, what it sounds like.
That could be. Yeah, I don't know that it, like, for sure can't see you if you're walking. But that's your best chance, and I feel like at this point, at the end of the chapter, the claws are, like, coming out from underneath the door, and Chase scooping Rachel and, like, sprinting down the hallway. Maybe for, like, a minute, but, like, you better start walking, okay, bud? Didn't he just say that?
Right! He's like, hey, walk. Tell everybody to walk. Don't run, because this thing is bad. If it gets out, for damn sure, don't run.
Yeah.
And then Chase goes running down the hall with Rachel. I do want to point one thing out. Al did say the door is wood. It just has like metal plating.
I feel like they probably just made a comment about the gold when I was reading it. Or maybe I missed it.
I think the same for me. But even so, yeah, you could check a wooden door with your shoulder if it's like the stuff we have probably on our doors here. But if you got like the thick outside door, your front door, you couldn't do that.
Yeah,
And that's wood on the inside with like a thin metal plate on the outside. So
I definitely feel like they said it was metal because I definitely feel like, and I mean, it may have been just like metal in the inside, or I don't know exactly how they're trying to describe it, but I definitely remember reading that it was
Claws going through metal.
well the dent in the metal. Like I think that they were implying that it could bend like metal does,
Right.
not like wood does, because wood would have splintered
Right.
before it bent like that.
Yeah, that's why I think he was saying it was plated in gold. Gold metal.
Yeah,
The wood on the inside. But either way, something, we're guessing probably 4 feet tall, getting up enough speed and power to put a dent in a door.
it's a lot.
You can go through a door before you put a dent in a door. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, that's saying a lot. But yeah, the claws are coming through the door. Chase and Rachel run away. And that is how we start off the second book of this series.
Yeah. This is the first book I read, so this was my introduction, which is a little weird because I feel like it opens without introducing you to any of those people.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I was totally fine with it.
Well, you kind of get the basics. Rachel is a little girl with a doll. Chase is a big, scary dude with weapons, and Zed is a wizard.
Yeah.
If you were to have started this series with this book, you would have no idea about a Richard or a Kaelin or a Mud People or Michael or none of that yet.
Right. You wouldn't know how big of a douchebag Michael is.
But as it happens, that's how you started the series. This is the chapter that sent you on the journey.
Yeah, it is. It's the beginning of my journey. I'm just gonna use your word.
Jared McCracken just said Tarantino did some. Maybe.
Which I never complain about.
Nope. I like those movies. But yeah, this I guess I wanted to ask you about that, Jade, because this was the trash bag book.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like calling it the trash bag book makes it
sound awful.
Yeah.
It's actually, well, I mean, maybe not meaningful, but it's how we came across the series.
Yeah.
It's how you came across the series. I was a non-reader at this point.
Yeah. And I remember, like, I only knew it because I had also seen it on the TV. I hadn't watched the show, but I saw that it was inspired by Terry Goodkind, and I remember I had the book, so I thought to read it. And
oh, yeah.
That's how it started.
I mean, like a lot of things happen in the book when we're like, okay, that's 1 in a million. What are the odds of that happening? It just, you were given a bag of books somebody didn't want anymore. And one of those just happened to be the second book in this series. And that sent you on the journey. But so you got all the way through Stone of Tears before you read Wizard's First Rule. You didn't get halfway through and go, oh shit, this is book 2, and then jump back.
Right. No, because we didn't own it. I actually realized later on that there was a lot more of the series in the trash bag. I don't think they were all there.
Oh.
But the first one was not.
Yeah. I know we do have a couple of what look to be old and used copies.
I like to read my books.
Well, I think a couple of them were that way when we got them.
Yes.
That could also have been due to the fact that they were, in a trash bag, which is sad. But I'm still happy that we found this series and that you just happened to pick up that book and read it because it's such a big part of kind of us. It's cool.
Well, yeah. And I mean, we wouldn't be here doing this right now with you guys if I didn't find that book. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, cheers.
I can't.
Oh, no. Well,
I'll cheers you with my cup, and then you can give me a sip.
I'll share. There we go. By the way, again, Vernors and Whiskey, way to go. Way to go.
I goes down pretty smooth.
I dig it.
Not
I
gonna
do.
lie. So, Ale just mentioned that on the last podcast we mentioned an email and a voicemail. I don't know that we're going to do the voicemail tonight because we have to have that all pulled up and ready to go, and I don't think that we do.
No. My bad.
But we can read through a little bit of Desiree's email. I don't know that I'm going to read it like exactly line for line because I want to make it stream forward. But yeah, Desiree Sandoval, she's been messaging us like periodically about her like just her thoughts on some of the chapters that she listens to, and I want to encourage anybody to do that because a lot of times, I mean, you guys pick up on things we don't, or I don't know. Ale does it a lot where he'll correct us on stuff that we like maybe don't fully remember or things that come later. And in the comments, say what like you guys have. I would love for you guys to have a conversation down there.
Oh
always,
yeah.
if you want to, but for sure send us emails if you just feel like spewing your thoughts.
Yeah, no, in regard to the chat, I mean, Jade and I are working our way through this thing, but if we missed something or screw something up, we like it that you guys are in here saying, "Oh, hey, actually, you missed this," because in that way, at least we can like have a discussion about it. That's something we missed.
Yeah.
We're not infallible by any means. Just because we have the microphones doesn't mean we know it all.
Yeah.
Very much so. We're reading this book. I know for me, there's a lot that I forgot.
Yeah.
You know, I know it was meaningful when I finished it. I had never felt that way about any other book. So it's like, I love this series. But the other half of it is like, we get to hang out with you guys and like kind of have a talk.
Al just said it's bad luck to cheers with an empty glass, and I'm sorry.
Well,
I had to cheers. I got some of his booze, if it makes it better.
yeah, she did get a sip.
I also found out that
Cancels the bad luck.
it's like bad luck to cheers with water, I guess.
What? Really?
Yeah, I know that, like, I don't know. I read up on it, but I forgot what it was. But just so you know, don't cheers with water either.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
I'll pass that along to you.
I learned 2 things today. So are you going to go through the email?
Yeah, I am. Sorry. Okay, so she basically just talks about how she's been very busy, and then she was glad that because we did actually record her response to our first email that's on our Patreon.
Right. Yeah, made a whole episode of that. I was reading through it and went, you know, why don't I just hit record on my phone and just see what comes of it? And then we ended up reaching out to her and asking permission, and she said it was fine. So yeah, we made an episode of that, and that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. And so she said she enjoyed listening to that, and she said her smart ass is hidden through sentences and paragraphs, but we did a good job interpreting that. Which good. I feel good about that. She said she's gonna vomit out some more things. She's backtracking a little bit through some of the podcasts here. We're on like 35 to 37 ish, so it's a minute back, but that's okay. We're just reminiscing a little bit, guys.
Yeah.
So she talks about the difficult topics that Terry brings that we talked about, and how she said we did a good job. She says she always appreciates that about Terry, that he addresses them like a slap in the face. It's not like, we're going to dress this up a little bit. It's very like, this is real and raw. And
Oh, yeah.
This just happened.
I know that is something we talked about before, and I'm almost positive that I say this on that Patreon episode, but like somebody asked him in the AMA about like why all the threat and the rape, and I mean not just threat, but why all the rape and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or heads on pikes or ball eating.
Ball
Maybe
eating.
not so much ball eating, but he goes because stuff like that happens in the real world and it sucks. But it happens all the time.
I mean, the ball eating does happen. Again, another Patreon episode, our cannibal episode.
Yes.
We talked about that. So.
You know what? I take it back. Yes, it absolutely does happen in the real world, and it is disturbing. But yeah, I like that she is perceptive to that too, because he can be very, very brutal when he wants to be.
She says, you both have good points with Rachel. She